What's going on, guys? Welcome to Boosted Motorsports. So behind me I have the Dodge Ram 1500 with the Hemi swap. This is a second gen Ram 1500. It's the SST edition, but we swapped it with the 5.7 liter Hemi actually out of that truck. So it came out of a 2014 Ram 1500. We put a Hellcat in that. The original 5.7 came out and went in here. And behind the scenes, if you guys remember in the last video, I hinted at the fact that I may have sold the 3-speed. If you guys have been watching my stories on Instagram, Facebook, you'll see that we actually did sell the 3-speed. So 3-speed is gone, and I wanted to make sure that transmission worked, so I kind of knew what state it was in. It was a built 727. It had a trans brake in it and a bunch of other stuff. So that is gone now, and we're putting an 8-speed in it. So I'm gonna start to get things ready for that. So I'm not sure what we're gonna get into in this video, but on the last video, we ended up getting this rear axle in here. And I was missing a few parts. I was missing this brake line that comes from here over to there. I was missing the bolts to hold the caliper on, and also lug nuts. I went to the junkyard and I got a bunch of cool parts. So if you guys haven't seen my vlog, I'll link that up below. Go check out the vlog video because I kind of show you guys just some behind the scenes stuff. I went to the junkyard, went to a bunch of junkyards actually to find some parts, and found a bunch of cool stuff. I actually found these out of a second gen off-road package. These are actually blocks, factory lift blocks to lift the truck. But since we axle flipped it, after we set this down and we see what our ride height is, technically speaking, I could put these on here. I guess it would go this way. And we could lift our axle up. We'd have to get some different U-bolts, but we could lift the axle up and effectively lower the truck even more if we wanted to. I don't know how this is gonna sit, so we'll see where we end up, but either way, I can lower the truck more, or I might sell these to somebody, but these are OEM blocks, which is pretty cool. And then I got some of the parts and pieces that we were missing. So I went ahead, got some banjos because I was missing that. This is the factory brake line. I got the slide pins and the caliper bolts. Also, I picked up at least one lug nut so that we can hopefully put the wheels on until our new ones show up tomorrow. I got this. I don't know if we're gonna do anything with it, but I got an aftermarket upper radiator hose, and you can kind of see there, it's a little bit subpar. Like, see how it's kind of kinked through here? So I'm wondering if I put in an actual legit OEM hose. You can see it's in the same spot, but I think this one is a little beefier. So I don't know, we'll see. I have this. It was pretty cheap, so I figured I would get it while I was there because it was off. They actually had a 4th gen there. So if you guys saw my video, they had a 4th gen and I was ransacking it for parts. So anyways, let's go ahead. Let's get the brake line on there, put our calipers on, and then we can probably put the wheels on and finally get to see how this thing sits. And then we'll keep working on this thing, see how far we get in this video. Also, some other parts from Holly showed up, so we got a lot to get done. Let's go. Okay, so we got our brakes on, and don't worry, I'll end up painting and cleaning all this stuff up, but right now we're just in the testing stages. So I got that brake line on, and we go over here. We got this caliper on now. We've got all the hardware for it. Brake line's on. I got to attach it. The mount kind of moved a little bit since our perches moved, but anyways, I want to see how this thing sits. So I think I have one lug nut for each side, so let's pop on our SST wheels and see what kind of stance we have. All right, well, that's definitely low, boys. So I guess a couple things. I checked, right now it's on the bump stops. You gotta remember, I have a lot of weight in the bed right now. We got a full engine block back here. But yeah, it's on the bump stops right now, but we still have the lowering shackle at the back here. So I don't know if you guys can see, it's really long. And the other thing that that's doing with it being so long is it's kind of bringing everything forward a little bit. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is try to find some stock shackles, or there's another position on that where we can actually bring the spring down a little bit. And I think we'll be in a better position. So It's low, but it's a little too low in the back. So, and that was just from doing an axle flip, boys. That's all we changed, and now all of a sudden she's on the ground. So I don't know, I think it can go a little bit lower. Yeah, it's under its own weight, so definitely got to come up a little bit because she's riding kind of Carolina style. Probably, I don't know if we can afford to chop much out of the front, because you got to remember this is on smaller diameter wheels. So if we end up putting like something like this on, it's going to fill this fender out a lot more. So yeah, and these are already lowering springs in the front. I'm not sure what the brand they are, but they are a lowering spring. So I kind of want to leave a little bit of room, because if and when I'll probably end up playing around with some wheels, we're going to need a little bit more room. But right now that is on the bump stops. So the other thing too is the bushings are completely blown out of those shackles, so it's probably allowing the spring to come up even higher. Maybe some stock shackles with the axle flip, or even just good bushings and going one position down on those shackles should hopefully help. But right now she's got a little bit of squat to her. I did want to check and try something though, you guys, because these showed up as well. So I got another set of shackles. These are a little bit shorter. If this doesn't work, we'll end up going complete factory shackles. But right now, the ones that are on there, these were only 32 bucks because the bushings are completely blown out of the ones that are on there anyways, but this is a rubber bushing instead of the poly. But I'm gonna try putting it on and put it to this position. So there's two positions. We'll see by going a little bit less on the shackle if we end up achieving a little bit better ride height, since it's completely just slammed right now. The other thing, you'll notice the Jeep is in here, so I made a video on that. That's on Boosted Motorsports 2, you guys. If you guys want to see the Jeep build, go over there. The whole Jeep build is going to be on BM2. So reason for doing that is, I'll get into it in a completely separate video, but the original channel, it's based out of Canada, and there's a bunch of crazy regulation going on there as far as like censorship and different stuff going on over there, where I keep getting emails saying that stuff's gonna start to get censored. So that's why I'm trying to move everything to the other channel. So help me out, you guys. Support your boy over here. If you want to continue to see content, go over there. I might be moving absolutely everything over there at some point. So if you don't want to miss out on the builds and all this, start going over there. Go check out that. I already have a ton of videos over there. So if you haven't seen it, go over there and you can see our Jeep builds start getting underway over there. So let's go ahead and put it up, and let's change out those shackles and see if we can get some sort of decent ride height here. All right, so here's the new ones with brand new bushings. Here's the old ones with completely clapped out polyurethane ones. And these ones, I know it seems counterintuitive to what we're trying to do, but these are just a hair shorter. So you'll notice they're not by much, but what I'm going to do, so I just flipped the leaf spring down, took it off of there. I'm going to put it in the shorter position because right now it was just way too slammed, especially with these wheels. So I'm gonna put it in the shorter position, and then we'll swing this back up and we'll see how she looks. All right, so I had to actually modify the bracket just slightly. See how there's this big banana shape here? Right here, you can see when you put the actual spring in, it was getting into the corners right here. So I just had to take a grinder and just run this across right there. So you can see the difference in shape. This one's kind of boxed out. This one's round because it was hitting here on the corners of the spring. So now, because I wanted to run it in the, I guess the higher position, the lower on the actual shackle, but this will effectively raise our vehicle. So what I wanted to do is run it on that one on the highest setting so that we can get an idea for it. But yeah, I had to modify it slightly. So let me do this, I'll do the other side, and then we can finally set this thing down. All right, so everything's back in here. We've got our new shackles. I guess they're technically lowering shackles, but regardless, they're new. The old bushings were absolutely beat, so it was probably lowering it, look at that, even more than we wanted to. So it was probably, like I said, pulling this thing up and down into the bottom of the bushing. So anyways, those are changed. I also did get new lug nuts coming because right now I've only got one crusty one holding this on. So got some nice new ones because they were a different size. So I'm not gonna put them all on, I'll just throw on one just to hold the wheel on, but check these out. I'll link these down below if you guys are interested in them, but they look pretty legit. So we're gonna throw one on each, put it down, and see what kind of ride height we got. Still looks like it's slammed. Ugh, okay, well, I guess we might have to try stock shackles next, so might be making a run to the junkyard, but I don't know if you guys can see this. It is like sitting right on the bump stops. So even raising it with the shackle, she's still sitting on the bump stops. I also saw some comments about people saying about the axle and whatnot, about moving it back an inch, so might end up doing that. It's gonna be a little bit of work because on the bottom plate we're gonna have to cut open a new hole for the nut that goes through the leaf springs, so that would bring it back a little bit and we can hopefully get a little bit better alignment there. It's a little bit peculiar though. Gotta figure out, the other thing too is the bed's not fastened, so the bed might be off a hair. I think the bed's actually sitting a little bit further back on this side than the other side as well, but yeah, there's that. So probably have to order a stock shackle, I'm guessing, but let's go ahead and tackle this dash thing. Something that I really want to get underway, so it's been bugging me for a while. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll start ripping this dash out, because this ultimately has to come out, and then we can strip the frame down and probably end up painting this steel frame, and then we'll get it ready for taking that dash to put it onto this frame. All right, well, the dash is out and she was crumbling on her way out. I don't know if you guys saw little pieces falling off on the way, but even as I walked around the vehicle, I was losing bits until I finally made it here. And it is just like, it's crazy. You guys, I don't know how else to explain it. So, like I mentioned, this one's in good shape, but the frame is all rusted out and the wiring harness, because it appears that it's from a flood vehicle. So we're gonna transfer this over to this frame. So I'm gonna take this all off of this frame, strip it down, debating painting it. It was never painted from the factory. It was always kind of like rusted metal. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna at least get this right down to the frame, because I gotta be able to put that on this one, because that one is real nasty. And then we can start deciding if we're gonna maybe just dust it. I'll probably just dust it real quick, and then we'll transfer, I guess I don't have to transfer the wiring harness, because the wiring harness is on this frame, but we'll end up getting this stuff ready, drill out all these rivets. There's rivets that hold it to the actual metal portion of it. So I'll start drilling all those out so that we can get this all ready to go. All right, there we go. So it is completely stripped down to nothing, and I'm gonna paint it black. Let's go. All right, so we got the dash frame over here drying on the meth cart. So yeah, it came out decent. I didn't go too crazy with the prep, you guys, because you're barely gonna see it, but just at least didn't want it all dusty and rusty. So might give it one more coat, but that's at least a lot better than it was. So let's get to the next thing. Okay, well, I kind of want to get an episode out for you guys and keep you guys more up to date, because I know a lot of people want to stay up to date. So here's all the stuff from our old dash. Here is the new one. The other thing too is it's a couple more days until the top section shows up. So before I take this off of the frame, I want to put the new top section on here, because it does add some rigidity to it. So before I actually drill out the rivets and take off the tan portion, I want to put our new top on so that it adds to the strength of this whole thing, so that we just risk any chance of possibly breaking this one. I think it's, even though it's a little bit more work and I really want to take this all apart, I think it's the safer bet because you guys already know it's going to be nearly impossible to find something again. So, and if you guys are wondering, I got this. It's like crazy expensive in my opinion, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a lot cheaper than I've seen a lot of other ones. I took your guys' suggestion. I looked, there's only a company that makes a 98 to 02 dash reproduction. I haven't seen anybody that recreated or remanufactures a 94 to 97. They're separate dashes, so, and I wanted to stick with the original dash in this thing. So I've seen them on eBay go anywhere from like $800 to $1,200. I picked this up for $400. And you gotta remember, I did get this as well. So this is pretty intact. It's got that one crack that I think I showed you, but overall it's definitely salvageable. And this alone, just cheap ones on Amazon are like 110 bucks. So I got that and that for 400 bucks, and everything else, I got all the panels and all that stuff. So I think we fared out okay in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below about that. As far as the drop, I ordered a smaller shackle. It's actually considered a lift shackle because if you had the axle flipped, you would actually be essentially lifting it, but, or maybe not, I don't know. It depends which way the axle is flipped, but I got a shorter shackle and it's supposed to be for a lift application, but I am going to put that in anticipation and hoping that it gives us enough height. I looked and there was some documentation that said that flipping the axle, you're gonna be dropping it 5 to 6 inches, so that explains why we're absolutely slammed. So because I saw I think it's DJM, I don't know, DJM, whatever. They sell a kit that's an axle flip, but it also comes with a C-notch kit. That's how low this will be with a flip kit. So I'm gonna see if I can get away with putting a different, like a smaller, shorter than stock shackle in there so that we can hopefully get some clearance and just move on with things. But that I ordered, waiting for that to come. And we got a bunch of stuff. Once I get the interior back in here, once I get at least the dash in, I still have to, I'm gonna see, let me know down below, should we just replace the carpet or should I see if I can get some sort of dye? The carpet's in good shape, it's just sun faded as well, as you can see. So it should be a little more tan. You can see how it's dark in here where the sun hasn't gotten to it, but look at how light it is all through here. It's like super sun faded. So I could either dye this carpet. Let me know, should we stick with the tan or should we maybe just dye the carpet black or put a black carpet in it? Probably be a little bit easier to maintain, but let me know down below what you think on that. And then we will be getting to the 8-speed swap. I have most of the stuff here. Kind of missing a few different things, but for the most part, I have most of the stuff for the 8-speed swap, so we'll be getting to that. I just want to get the interior back in because I have to put another module in for the 8-speed, and I don't want to have to shove more stuff underneath the dash knowing that we had to take out the dash, so that was the reason for that. So also, if you guys haven't, go check out the other channel for the Jeep stuff. I'll explain in a completely separate video, but like I mentioned, this main channel that I'm posting this on, it's like under attack right now, so I'm slowly starting to move everything over to there. So yeah, go subscribe to that other channel, support your boy over there. I'm gonna be posting a lot of content over there, so you'll be missing out on content if you're not subscribed to that one as well. I'll continue to post on this one, keep you guys up to date, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on with this channel here that you're on, so that's the reason. That's pretty much the only reason. I'll get into more details later, but that's what's going on. So if you guys like this content and you like this build, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. Also subscribe to the other channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one.